Hello, so in this video we'll see 5 lab questions and with how to do and how we can achieve it through the portal. So let's see the first use case. So here we need to create a virtual network named this one, and that contains 3 subnets, subnet 0, 1 and 2. The solution must meet the 3 criteria. The first one is the connections from any of the subnets to them must be blocked, so there will be no any internet connections from inbound and outbound, and there must be the minimum rules. So let's see what we can do it from portal. So we'll first create a network security group and we'll assign it to the subnet. So let's go and create a network security groups, as it is allows to filter all the inbound and outbound traffic from the connected device. So yeah, just bear with me. Let me just create this network security group. So enter the name. STOS. You can select best on your choice, and yeah, so it's created now. Network security group. Go to the outbound rules. So inbound rules, as you can see that by default the internet is not enabled here. So I'll just go, and since it has been asked that we should have the minimum rules. So just go to the outbound rules, add, and here we can define here like what port and what destination, the IP address, the range, what the protocol action that we want to define it here. So we'll select the service tag, we'll enter the internet, and we'll enter the port 80 here, and we have the option to select that the protocol, whether we want to TCP, allow, deny. So but in this case we'll select any protocol here, and let's deny it, and port and name, give it the name here, deny, and any. Yeah, it's done. So let's okay. Yeah, just give the priority so that accordingly the rules will be executed. And yep, so the priority is on top, the first, and yep, let's get this deployed here. The inbound is already restricting that internet. Outbound is something that we have done it, added the rule here. Now move it to the VNet. So in this case the VNet, I'm into the VNet 1008, as you can see, and I have 3 subnets here. Now I have to apply that rule which we have created and on the NSG level. So here you go, and yeah, network security group, and this is what we have created. So I'm just applying that rule on this subnet. So outbound and inbound, the internet connectivity which we have already applied on the NSG level. So now that same rules goes on the subnet. So the same thing we have to apply on the subnet 1 and subnet 2 and subnet 3. This is what the this was the question is. So as you can see here, sorry, the security group is here applied. So this marks basically end of this lab question. Yep, so the next lab question is you need to create a function app, name this, called this one, that must support the SDK session, and the solution must minimize the Azure related cost of the Azure app service plan. Let's see what we can do it from the portal. Okay, so I'm into the function group. Just select the resource group. So for me it's exam lab, and must enter the same function name which was in the question. So yeah, for me it's a STOS. Go to the STOS, and yeah, .NET Core. Yeah, and here we need to change the plan. So we'll go with the app service plan here, and let it be that the Windows plan. Yeah, and but the SQ where we need to make that change. So go to the here, and let me show you where it is. So if you see here, like we have a dev and test and production and an isolated here. So if you select that, and if you see this session affinity is available in all these SKUs, so the free and shared, the basic one. So we have the session affinity option in all these SKUs, but the free and the free and the shared one has their own limitation. So we'll go with the basic one. So we'll select the basic one here, and yeah, as it's provide the session affinity, and it's this is what the ask is in the question. So let's wait to get that created. So yeah, go to the source group and let me refresh it. Yes, created. Refresh it. Go to the function app, and under the setting you would see the configuration. So the configuration, since we have selected that basic one and the session affinity was there, so and you have to also ensure that this property is also on here. So as you can see, it's improved the performance, and it is required for the function app where the state needs to be maintained here. So this marks the end of the lab questions. So you can on and off based on the need, but yeah, this marks the end of the question which was asked. So the next lab is we need to create a web app, name this the corp and this ID, and that can be scaled horizontally. The solution must use the lowest possible pricing tier for the web app service plan. So yeah, so let's see what we can, how we can achieve it through the Azure portal. So I'm on a portal and creating a web app. So let me just enter that same name. It must be unique. So I'm just putting it 7 here, and yeah, .NET. Just select your tier. So since it is not being mentioned in the question, so just select. What we need to do is change the SKU, and we have to just make sure that horizontal scaling is there in that SKU. So in the dev and test, if you should see, there is no any scaling feature, but if you select the B1, there is a scaling, but it's a manual one. But the question is we need auto scaling. So auto scaling, if you see, it's a start with the S1, which is the standard one. So we'll select the standard one, and also the question is that it must be the cost effective. So as standard one is the, it's basically the first one which will start with where auto scaling is. So yep, so go with the standard one and create it. So this is basically meet that use case which is asked basically, and it marks the end of this ask. This is the lowest possible because we have selected this one. So the next lab question is, you have a resource group named exam lab. Exam lab contains the Azure storage account named this, and virtual machine named is this one. And what essentially we have to do is, a storage account contains a disk which is WM0 disk 1, and what essentially we have to do is you have to apply that read-only lock so that it should not be edited or deleted. Yeah, we'll see both the option here. So let's see what we can achieve it through the portal, how we can achieve it through the portal. So I'm into this resource group, and as you can see, we have a storage account. So I'll just select that logs, and here you select the read only, give the name for that rule. So for me it is like this, just bear with me. Yep, so now let's go to and put some descriptions here, so that when it fails and whoever is trying to delete or edit may get the context, like whom they need to reach out if they want to, or why they are deleting it. So just give the context, like if somebody wants to look into. So yep, for me it is like that, and yep, so we got that row logged here, And now go to the storage account. Okay, so yeah, so this is the storage account, and first let me try to delete it, and yes, try to give the name. I'm just trying to show you that because there is a separate delete one which will only restrict you for the delete, but if it is the read one log, so as you can see the description that let me show you here. Here you go. As you can see here, it's logged. Yep. So you got the context, like why you're, when you're trying to delete it but it failed, and you got the context like whom should you reach it. And if I go and just try to create a new one, it's failing because the read only. So we cannot delete it, we cannot made any modification into this blob, and this is basically the ask that it should be the read only. Anybody can just view it, and but they cannot change it anything here. This marks the end of these lab questions. Although ask is completed, but let me show you. Go and just deleting this log, and we'll try to change it. So let me just delete it here. It's deleted here. Now go back and again visit that storage account. I'm just trying to show you that just I remove that lock, and I'll do the same operation here. I'll just create a new container here, and it must allow me to create that. So yeah, here you go, and I'll save it, and it's created now. So yeah, so this is just extra one. The next lab question is you need to ensure that administrator can recover any blob data that is deleted accidentally from the storage account, and it must retain for 14 days, and if anyone wants to recover it, they can recover it. So this is basically the essence about the lab. Just need a 14 days retention policy with the account. So let's see how we can achieve it through the portal. So I'm creating a storage account here, and just put some unique name, and yep, as it has not been asked like location, especially something that we should be selecting here. So let's go and create it. The one thing that you have to see here, we have the disk protection. So under the disk protection, you see the options of delete. So if you enable it, you would see that it allows you to select that for the files here, delete, and for the, but the question here is to just a blob data. So we'll go with the blob one and enable it for the 14 days, and we left that the file share one, but it's not been asked, so we just go and create it. So let me show you here. As you can see here, it's a 14 days. So yes, once you validate it and go and confirm it, create it. So once, let's say in another scenario, if you have a storage account already in place, so how you can ensure that the retention policy, just go to, not here, go to the various properties, yeah, data protection, and under the data protection you would see that it is coming with 14 days retention here, and here you have option to again change it and override that value if you have not mentioned or given at the time of the creation. So yeah, so if it is existing one, you can just ensure it from here. If you're creating it, you can just ensure that that is getting created from there. Yep, in the next some videos we'll see some more long questions. Thank you for watching.